And we are live. Hey, thank you for joining us, everybody, for another episode of Bourbon and Blockchain Happy Hour. This week, we're very lucky to have on Tyler. Tyler, please introduce yourself so the crowd gets to know a little bit about who's talking on the other end of the microphone.
Absolutely. For one, as I already said before we went live, I'm sorry for not being on my mic. I look so disheveled today. I haven't even gotten to shower. I've been working all day today, but I know it's informal here. We don't care. But no, my name's Tyler. On here, I also have my moniker for the full Web3 experience, Sub.eth. I'm the founder of Alpha Shares and the Momentum Project, and I just want to thank you, Mr. Maverick, for having me up on the stage today and hanging out with you during your happy hour.
Absolutely. Normally this is something that Draco and I both do together. Unfortunately, Draco's actually at our server farm right now, working on our servers. We're getting everything kind of polished just to make sure that we're ready to deploy our validators for our community. So super excited about that. Unfortunately, he's not here with us, but regardless, it's going to be a good conversation. So I always like to kick these off, Tyler, with a kind of a wild question. Okay. And it's not going to be so wild tonight, but this is happy hour, right? Happy hour. Hence, we like to have a few drinks. Right now, I'm drinking, as if you can't see it in the background here, I just poured the rest of my Eagle Rare aged 10 year. I have another bottle, but I'm not very keen to open it just quite yet. But what's your drink of choice for the community?
That is a good question. It does kind of change often. It's not always the same. I am a big in terms of if I were to be drinking something expensive, I'm a big rye guy. So I actually do like bourbon and rye. The typical just actually having it on the rocks, a big cube, maybe one or two maraschino cherries. That's
Oh,
probably my favorite. Or Luxardo cherries, maraschino, same thing. But I'm sure that we all know there's that special Luxardo packaging that everyone loves to have. Those premium cherries, they're goddamn expensive. It's like $45 for a little jar, but
that's
they
right.
taste like heaven. But that's probably in terms of if I'm going to be sipping, having a nice dinner. Often when I go see my folks, that's what I'm drinking. But recently, for the holiday parties, I've been having espresso martinis.
Awesome. That's unique. We actually have
Yeah.
a channel in our Discord where it's kind of like the drink of the day. We don't post in it every day, but people are welcome to post whatever unique drinks in there. And we always get some interesting stuff. So if you're ever interested, especially as the holidays come, you're going to see a lot of stuff posted in there. Just
Good drink
suggestions and
ideas.
people making, yeah, no, I mean, hey, we are bourbon and blockchain, right? Our focus is on blockchain at the moment, but we like to share a good drink as a community too. So that's part of what this program actually represents. Now, that's not me encouraging you to drink right now by any means, but if you do, you're not going to hurt anybody's feelings either.
Well,
We
there you
actually,
go.
yeah, one night, I don't remember who it was we were hosting, but let's just say by the time the program ended, I was not able to speak clearly any longer. So I realized that I just need to stick to one drink while we're on here because otherwise things get pretty sloppy and people start making fun of me in the chat and I look cross-eyed on video. It's not pretty.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. I haven't yet had one of those occasions where we've been on an event, a Web3 event, and gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm good. We killed half a bottle here, but those sound like a fun event, right? Most of the time I'm on here, I'm stressed out trying to get work done. That definitely
That's right.
sounds like a quite a bit more relaxing.
Yep. Hey, thanks for everybody for joining. Just a reminder, please like and subscribe. Please feel free to join our community and check out. I posted the websites for Tyler and his groups there in the comments, so feel free to check those guys out. But Tyler, tell us a little bit more about you and about your project, and specifically what you came here for to discuss with our community.
Sure. Yeah. So, we've got a lot going on here at both Alpha Shares and Momentum. The difference, real quick, and kind of how I'll preface this: both of these companies, both these brands, rather, are aiming to do the same thing, and I'll get into what exactly that is. But they aim to do it in different fashions. Alpha Shares is NFT focused. We are a platform. We like to aid in the trading for NFTs. So we are a full service platform and launchpad where if a project wants to get launched and use our services, we provide all of that for them so that you, as a project founder, you're not beating your head against the computer. And instead, you can just grow your community, make sure you get people hyped for your mint. And that's what matters, right? Most NFT projects, they typically come along with a roadmap to strategically deploy the funds that they raise from their NFTs and then give back to their community. And that should be the focus, really. The focus shouldn't be on beating your head against the computer with the technicalities. We typically like to just tell people, hey, factor in a little bit of an extra margin in your mint and have it taken care of by someone else. And we want to be that someone else. So what we our big proponents are, well, actually, I didn't yet touch on the second side of things is momentum. And that's to aid to the DeFi or cater to the DeFi people that really like to play with tokens, not NFTs, get into, really intriguing programs that aid for immediate gratification in terms of returns and whatnot. Definitely incentivizing, a little bit more Ponzi-nomic, and we're very transparent about everything that we do as well. The reason for everything that we do here is a lot of stuff in Web3 is really used as a fundraising mechanism, as you probably already understand with Bourbon-N-Blockchain and what you're looking to do. NFTs, tokens, everything is about how can you capture value within your system so that you can then deploy that value into things that produce, hopefully, more value. And that's everything that we do here at AlphaShares, both on the AlphaShares NFT side and the momentum side. I could monologue quite a bit more on what we're doing, what plans we have upcoming. I don't know if that's what you want or if you want to tee them up with questions. So let me know. I can, or you can keep asking me questions.
Yeah, no, I actually joined your AMA just a little while ago, and I found some interesting concepts going on, things I wasn't even aware of. Obviously, I'm fairly new to your community, just as you are with ours. Yeah, so explain to us where you guys started, and explain to us a little bit more about your team, because here we really believe that a strength in a project is a team, and number two, transparency. And I know,
Absolutely.
like you mentioned momentum, and I've actually done a little research on the back end of it, and like you said, it definitely has a little Ponzi-nomic to it, but I can appreciate how transparent you guys are with it. So if you can expand just a little on where you started, the team you've built, and maybe a little more on the transparency side of things.
Absolutely. So, I myself come from a real estate background. I'll actually tell you how all of this came to be. I've been investing in cryptocurrency since you could say 2016, because that was my first purchase of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $743.50 a token. I love looking at that screenshot, and I hate that I didn't buy more. But I didn't really start getting heavy into it until about 2017. And I went through that initial bull cycle, trading on centralized exchanges. And I didn't get into decentralized exchanges and NFTs until this most recent run throughout 2020, 2021, and here in 2022. During that time, though, I was just a traditional trader. I was an investor. I was losing money left and right in projects that were rugging me left and right. And I was also investing into NFTs that ended up minting well and then ended up going to the floor and never being worth anything. So there is the whole gamut of that, plus, though, finding those successful projects that really, in a bull market, were almost a diamond in the rough. What I noticed, though, and like I said, I come from a traditional real estate background. I got my real estate license when I was 18 before college. I practiced real estate throughout college, and ended up becoming a broker after college. And that's what I, before this, was doing full time. I still am doing all of that still and trying to fit it on top of everything I've got on my plate here. But the idea originally was I own a corporate housing company. And so we have a big portfolio of properties that we rent out to traveling medical professionals, travel doctors, so on and so forth. We kind of fit a niche in the market, and we're able to have really high performing market rents, especially when compared to Airbnbs or compared to long-term rentals, in terms of how much income we take in versus the effort required to operate those rentals. The traditional route you'd go is going and raising money from an investor, saying, hey, I've got this awesome business model. I want to expand and I want to get more properties. Would you like to fund that development and fund that expansion? And then we pay a return to that investor, obviously. That's the traditional sense. What we wanted to look into, though, is how could I potentially take these investments and fractionalize them? Let's say I find a $500,000 income property that would be very productive in terms of the ROI that it would produce. What if we went and purchased it, then took it and tokenized it into a series of 10,000 NFTs, each worth $50 a pop? And for as little as $50, you could open up your MetaMask, go deposit $50, and own 1/10,000th of that house. You also earn and be able to claim through the dashboard 1/10,000th of that rental income every month. And that would be something that would be tokenized legitimately through the deed of trust. The deed of trust would point to the blockchain and the record of the NFT contract. And it is something that actually can be done. But what can't be done, and what's very difficult, is you would have to completely KYC all 10,000 of those investors and have them be in a private group.
That
That's
was going to be
something
my
that
next question.
Yep. So it's not possible, right? I wanted to pursue it, I really did, but it wasn't possible. And so as we went down that rabbit hole trying to see what we can do, we realized that there's just too much oversight and regulation, and it's just not possible at this current moment. But what was possible and what we moved into was what else is a large industry in this space? Real estate's $1 trillion industry. Is there anything that comes close to it in Web3? Well, we found NFTs, and we found that NFTs were actually a $10 billion plus industry at the time that we kind of put together our white paper. The biggest players there were OpenSea, LooksRare. Now there's X2Y2, Magic Eden. But at the time, OpenSea and LooksRare, they were doing about $100 to $250 million per day in volume. They take a 2 to 2.5% fee, meaning they were making $2 to $5 to $6 million a day in straight profit off of trading volume. That was something where our business model at the beginning was, hey, how could we go and launch our own marketplace and even just take 1% of that market share? Taking 1% of that market share is substantial. And what we want to do with that is return all of that to the people that help us raise these funds to create this marketplace. And that's exactly what we did. So it's kind of synonymous to the real estate idea. You have a $500,000 house and you fractionalize it. Instead of us fractionalizing a house, we fractionalized our business, and we fractionalized Alpha Shares as a platform. So we raised a lot of money through our initial token, which was the Alpha Nodes token in February. It was a reflection token that was heavily taxed on buys and sells, but luckily we launched it during a bull market, and a lot of people made a lot of money. We paid out over $1.25 million in reflections, and it went really, really well. At one point, we had a $12 million market cap. And because of the way everything was structured, we grew a treasury of over $500,000. And that's what we were able to use. And instead of do what traditionally it seemed like people did at the time, was just run away with it, we took that and we actually deployed that into the Alpha Shares marketplace. So we spent over $250,000 on developing this marketplace. It was headed by our co-founder, John, Bad Shogun. I met him actually locally. He's here in Arizona with me. When I wanted to pursue this real estate idea, I took out 6 or 7 Solidity developers from LinkedIn out to coffee and showed them my idea, signed an NDA with them, and said, hey, could you help me out? Most of them said no, they don't know how to do any of that stuff. But one of them said, hey, this sounds really enticing, and bullshitted the hell out of me wanting to do it, but ended up going and pushing the work to his boss because he worked at Carvana. And his boss ended up being John. So I ended up getting connected with John because I realized that John's doing all the work. I'm paying this one guy, and he's then paying John. And so we cut out the middleman, and John and I went and built this, and the rest is history. So we ended up launching the Alpha Shares marketplace in September, utilizing those funds and giving the opportunity to people that had purchased our Alpha token over the past few months to tokenize their ownership of NFTs by minting those NFTs with our Alpha token. We let that go on for a number of months so that the people that had been buying our token for the past few months, hey, we want to support you guys. We're not going to be making money off this, because when you go and submit Alpha tokens, we're not selling them. And so instead, we were able to support the people that supported us. Since then, we've changed it, and our mints are now going for 100 USDC. We only have about 2,500 mints left on the Alpha Share side for the Alpha Pack out of 10,000. Things are expediting rapidly over the past 3 weeks. We've had over 1,000 mints, and really everything is expanding because we're getting onto Ethereum. We're getting onto a chain with quite a bit more volume, and so the perceived profitability and the roadmap here is looking quite a bit better for the people that are owning an Alpha Pack Wolf. I don't know if I think I did mention it, but 70% of all of the fees that are produced on our marketplace, they go back to Alpha Pack holders. So imagine if we had a day of volume that was like OpenSea or LooksRare, there'd be millions of dollars that we can go and split to people. Do we see that we're going to hit levels that high right away? No. But like I said, even taking 1% of a market share like that will be substantial. 70% goes back to the people that hold a wolf proportionally to how many wolves you hold. And we also give 30% of Launchpad services revenue to those holders as well. So Launchpad has been the pivot recently because, again, the market isn't what it once was. OpenSea and LooksRare aren't even doing $100 million a day anymore. It's just not a thing. The NFT market's not what it once was. And so instead, we wanted to continue to add value to our system. And the whole concept here, which I didn't really get to, and I know I can kind of talk a mile a minute in your ear off, but the whole idea here is that you have to create real value. If your project stays a closed loop system where the only value that flows into the project is new investors, it's never going to last. What we're looking for is how can we create that real value? And if trading volume isn't what it once was, well, what value can we create here? And the idea there was we've got some awesome, fully vetted and built out contracts by our partners, our security partners, Paladin, fully audited, fully secure. We've already launched over 5 or 6 projects with our contracts. Perfect score, launched very well, both Ethereum and Avalanche. And so again, we want to take care of that for you. And that is where we make most of our revenue right now, is we have an initial fee to get started on all your contracts, do your artwork, do your metadata, run a mint page, get you up and running. We're a full service launchpad, but more than a launchpad, because most launchpads, you go somewhere to mint, then that experience is broken as you go to a secondary place to trade. With us, you mint, you trade, you do it all, and we provide that experience for you. So that's a little bit of a rundown with that. I don't want to keep talking because I want you to ask the
No,
questions.
no.
I could keep talking. So
No, no, it's super interesting. One thing that we're the most bullish on in the NFT world is the NFTs that provide real value, right? Tangible assets, something that's backed, that's going to protect the floor of the NFTs, that's going to scale over time. So, where do you? I'm sure you guys have done a lot of vision boards, right? Where do you envision this going, right? Obviously, the full service provides a layer of assistance to somebody new that's wanting to start their own collection, right? But do you envision that as the future and continuing to assist people with maybe launching their projects, or do you envision Alpha Shares becoming a premier NFT sales platform?
all the above. I think that we have to tackle things systematically. I think that we really have to look at the market and look at what our strengths are right now and focus on that. And I think that right now it's definitely our ability to provide an extremely streamlined launch process. And by doing that and by providing it to a lot of projects, we will be growing. Secondarily, we'll be growing everything else in terms of trading volume, in terms of community interaction, the number of users on the site. And so, really, I think that yes, we've done a lot of planning, strategic planning, vision boarding, trying to understand what is the current market, what is it looking like, and where can we really find our niche to tackle it. Right, we have to find what is the highest impact for the least amount of effort. And it's not because we don't want to put effort in, but it's because we have so many aspects to the protocol that we need every single bit of effort to be high impact. So for us, it's right now the Launchpad services as we continue through those and as we launch premier projects. And if those projects do really well, that's going to have an effect, a bit of a cross pollination effect for when those projects do well. The Alpha Shares marketplace will also do well overall. So we do see both sides. We think that we will always be at premier service. So I think that we can consistently improve on that as well. Something that we're talking about future down the line for very, very large projects is fully white labeling a marketplace for you, where you work with our designer. If you want to have a branded marketplace under your own domain, it's going to be powered by Alpha Shares, but it's going to look however you want it to look. The reason for this is NFTs are a business, but NFTs are more than just a business. They're a community run business. And if you have a very direct and consistent customer journey for the people that you're adding to your community, that is going to help out tremendously. So what do I mean by that for those of you that are listening? Well, when you get found on Twitter, you get found on Discord, a Twitter space, a YouTube AMA, whatever it is, that's going to be that initial reach out and your initial interest in that project. That project is going to have so much stuff set up already, a nice Discord, branded website, branded Telegram, Twitter, whatever it might be. And they want you to have a certain feeling about that project, that brand awareness, that brand identity. Whenever that brand goes and has their mint page, and if they go and use someone else, or if they go and trade on another marketplace, that customer journey is completely broken every single time. They're going and they're excited for something. They're looking at your designs, your white paper, and then they go to blah, blah, blah to go mint. And then after that, they go to blah, blah, blah to go trade. And it completely breaks that whole very community driven brand awareness or brand identity. And so for us, if we can do that, and this is really more impactful for larger communities as you grow and as you get to that, 10,000, 50,000 user count, member count. But when you get there, you want to have everything in house. And we want to provide that for people. So as we expand our services, that is something that we consider a premier solution for those way bigger brands out there. That will be a substantial package. And again, the revenue from that goes back to the Alpha Pack holders.
Yeah, that's interesting. A one-stop shop is something that I've been saying for a long time in the crypto world we've been missing, right? It feels like you have to interact in so many different fashions with so many different platforms in order to execute or enable certain things. So I think that's really promising. We've also kind of taken that same sentiment with the project with Bourbon-N-Blockchain services, specifically when it comes to interacting with our D app and being able to claim and keep track of and update and be updated on, the assets performance, your total earnings. But not only with that, a lot of people come into, I don't know, I think a lot of us that have been involved in crypto for a long time, we lose sight of the fact that there's a lot of new people that enter in and we just anticipate everybody knows what they're doing. So we've also taken it a step further and partnered with crypto ed courses to help educate people on how to go from cradle to grave to purchase the specific asset, right? A BNB S NFT. So that's something that's unique that we've trying to capitalize to where people don't have to hop on YouTube and go search out something to execute each level as a newbie, right? To purchase the asset. Not only that, like we've also been in talks with the developers, trying to essentially enable a potential mechanism in the future to where people could take their earnings and then directly stake those to a validator that Bourbon-N-Blockchain currently is running. So if we can integrate that directly into our D app and make it very user friendly and easy, to where we can cut out the middleman, cut out them having to execute some additional functions on an additional platform, that's super handy for everybody involved. So the whole one-stop shop idea, I think the first person that cracks the code and can kind of create an infrastructure, and I'm talking from even a bridge, right? You have to navigate on all these different platforms in certain cases. If somebody could crack the code where you could complete everything in one platform, I think it would be the whole user experience in crypto would change for the good, right? You have to keep it
100%.
easy, keep it simple, right? And that's what we lose sight of too, as developers and people that have been involved. Is like it becomes second nature to us. But as time moves on, if we want to continue to onboard new people into crypto, which we will as time goes, but we have to make the user experience better, just like with Google or with Apple. Why do you think their products are so popular? Well, it's definitely the user experience, right? They're easy to
Yep.
use. Somebody could pick it up and roll with it right away. That's the code that I think if we could crack as an industry, it would be kind of revolutionary for us.
100%. Yep. User experience and convenience are the two biggest
Convenience is the
things.
big.
Yeah. I mean, it's a massive barrier to entry for people. And I completely agree with you. Couldn't have said it
Yep,
better
yep.
myself.
There was a question wrapped up in there, but I've lost sight of it now because I rambled on too. I apologize, Tyler. So-
I think that I did too, if there was a question. I agree with you. I just agree with you. If the question is, do you agree? It's yes, absolutely.
I have a bad habit of doing that, but hey, Alpha Shares, I know is you guys launched in September, right? You're still minting currently. You said you have 2,500 NFTs left to mint. So how's that been going? Did the community? Did you find a lot of community support from all the people that stuck around? You said you started out as one project and you guys pivoted. So tell us about the pivot and how that worked for your community.
Yeah, sure. So we started out as a reflection token. So there were quite significant taxes on both sides of the token. I think it was a 15% buy and an 18% sell. So quite substantial. But we had a very fair launch and it went really well. Luckily, we've really prided ourselves in our transparency and communication and really trying to bring an air of trust to everyone that participates in any of the things that we produce. But we understood that things like a reflection token, they have a lifespan. We talk about these often. I mean, even when we launched the token, we launched it letting people know that, hey, this token, yes, is a reflection token. But the main reason for it is it's growing a treasury, and that treasury is going to be used for reinvestment into something that is going to be real value add. Whether that was at the beginning real estate or what it ended up turning into was this platform as a service. That was the entire idea from the beginning. Luckily, or maybe unluckily, it coincided with the market crashing in May. And so we ended up just in March, really, the end of March is when we put out our white paper for this. So we had the idea beforehand. We had it when everything was going really, really well. But then the whole market crashed, and that obviously it definitely hurt the mint. And it hurt how many people were going to participate. But we had two actually phases in the mint. The initial phase was an auction, and it was our Genesis collection. That went absolutely crazy. It was the first 48 hours of our mint going live and the marketplace going live. And that auction alone was really the only fundraiser for us. So like I said, the majority of our tokens or NFTs that were minted, about 6,500 of them were all minted, or 6,300 or something, were all minted with the Alpha Pack token, or not Alpha Pack token, the Alpha token. And that was because we wanted to give back to those that had been consistently purchasing that token and helping us grow that treasury over the past few months. But we didn't make anything from those general public sales. We only had 157 Genesis NFTs out of our 10,000 collection. It's only 1.57%. And that 1.57% is actually what raised our capital. We were looking to make more, obviously, because we spent $250,000 on the marketplace, but we ended up raising about the same with our Genesis auction. It was raised in AVAX, and then right after, AVAX took a 30% shit, and our $250,000 turned into quite a bit less. And so that's in hindsight, that's just what happens. But we've pushed through any walls or adversity that's shown itself to us. All it takes is problem solving and a direct mindset, and making sure that you don't get too muddied in your brain of what's going on, right? You have to have a level head. And so we just push through every single thing that pops up in our way. We make sure that we commit to the vision, and that vision is developing these high impact investments that will actually produce real value add income. That's the thing here. Is I got so frustrated with the market, how it was over during the whole bull run, of people focusing solely on Ponzi-nomics, but not
Mm,
just because they did that. Obviously, every business, every single project that is a token project, it needs to start off by having new investors. That's just the way that it works, right? You have to
that's
have
right.
that initial growth phase. But after that initial growth phase, well, now it's your duty to strategize and to pivot into an area that's sustainable. And so many projects during the bull market made millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they never did anything with it. And it frustrated me. They either ran away with it, or it's still sitting in treasuries. And so what
That's
we've
right.
done is we're going to be actually deploying that into something that's high impact. And we're very
Yeah.
proud to do it in a bear market too, because we get to buy at the bottom. We're not buying at the top and then everything shits on us.
Oh man, I tell you, it's so exciting being able to buy like an entire AVEX validator node for like $22,000, right? I
Right.
remember at its all-time high, there was what was like $300,000 or something in order to purchase a validator node. It was out of the
Just
reach of
about.
most people. You know, like I mean, it's just absurd, right? Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum would have been, I don't know, 150 to $200,000 if I had the numbers in front of me. But yeah, I'm with you. I think now is the time to build and to continue to grow. Our launch timing couldn't be worse, but couldn't be better. Let's put it that way. And I say it that way because we launched a week after the FTX debacle that we're all fully familiar with, and then
Yep.
but at the same time, the assets are prime for picking up, right? We can all agree in one thing is that we're in the depths of the bear market currently. So any assets that you can pick up at this moment in time is a huge plus.
100%. 100%. And that's why it's, who knows how long we're going to be down, going sideways near the bottom, but being able to have this opportunity and look and forecast forward. So much excitement happens when we're at the peaks of things. Oh my God, I'm going to get in. Oh my God, everything 10x. But then you got in too late, right? You want to get in now and be patient so that you can experience that 10x. And I love it.
Yeah,
I love that you guys are doing that.
we're really careful about who we even talk to, right? And your group is bringing real value to the market. You're fully transparent. Your team's docs. People know who you are. You have a clear vision of the future, and those are the types of people that we like to surround ourselves with and talk to. Why? Because we don't want to influence people into buying something unless it's a legitimate opportunity, and it's the and if it holds its weight whenever you put it under a microscope. And I think what you guys are building, what you're trying to do is really great. And the timing is also great too, even though you may not see it, right? It's hard to see in the dark. And right now we're definitely in the dark, but I think now is a great time to continue to build. So I commend you guys for that.
Thank you, thank you. No, and you too. I mean, it goes definitely both ways. You guys are pursuing things in many similar fashions, and we're going to have our own chat
Yeah.
even privately. We host our own validators as well, but we host them through all nodes. It is nice
Ooh,
because we're able to have an API. Cost is probably not the best if we were to work with someone like you, but
sure.
if we can work with someone with a project or a protocol platform rather like you guys, I'm not sure though. I guess a question for you: do you provide APIs for what rewards are looking like if people wanted to have that to post to a dashboard?
Yeah, so we're not at that point yet, but yes, that is absolutely something that we're working on. In fact, our developers actually have kind of a premise to what that vision looks like. But to be honest with you, at this point of our mint, the primary goal is to get our validators established. We purchased all of our own enterprise servers, right? We're going to be hosting everything on bare metal in a secure server facility that is very much under control, right? And so that takes premise, and then we're going to build out the dashboards following that. And it's more so like it's an additional software that allows you to monitor and manage everything holistically. Is kind of the vision. So we already have the developers, we already have the concepts. That's soon to be coming in the future.
Awesome. Awesome. Good stuff. That's
Yep.
what I'm looking for. Because, if when you guys have that live, we'd obviously love to be able to support protocols that are doing things in a more hands-on fashion. I didn't even get into what we're doing. You guys are doing proof of stake stuff from a very hands-on fashion. We're actually
That's
doing
right.
proof of work stuff from a very, very hands-on fashion, which
I
I could
saw
get
that.
into in a second. But
I actually learned a little bit more than what I thought I knew about your project just by joining your AMA here a little while ago. So, yeah, give us just a brief overview of what you're doing in the proof of work world.
sure. Yeah. All right. Someone just dropped something off at the front door. I just saw. I'm going to snag that in a second. But first, I'll get
Yeah,
into it. I mean, I think that it's really exciting what we've got going on here. What we've noticed is, and this is why I really love what you guys are doing too. All Nodes is a provider, right? They're going and they most
right.
likely even work, and they're probably a middleman. I'm not even sure if they're the ones that are actually having the infrastructure. So I really love that you guys are building out that infrastructure, actually hosting these nodes on your own hardware. That's something that I think is, direct to wholesale, if you will, and that's something that we want to take uh, really seriously when we do this proof of work stuff. Some of the largest proof of work operations from an NFT perspective, they actually go and leverage a service provider. So they're not even going and creating their own farm. They might raise millions and millions of dollars, but they're going to go take those millions, purchase the hardware, send them to another farm. That farm's going to take a performance fee, but that
That's right.
performance fee is a margin that could have gone to everyone else. So what we're doing is we're actually going to be on site. Our co-founder John is moving down to Paraguay in the second week of January, and Paraguay is where we chose to have these operations. Why Paraguay? Well, it initially became a thing because John has family that's there, and so it sparked the interest to go and pursue what
Wow.
opportunities are there. So we went out there in the beginning of October. We were there for 10 days. Actually, we weren't there for 10 days. We were there for about a week. We wanted to be there for 10 days. We should have been there longer. We didn't have enough time. But while we were down there, we established an entity. We spoke with attorneys. We got our licenses ready to go so that we are fully legally able to have a 2 megawatt mining farm. And we're in the process right now of looking at different places to either lease or purchase so that we have expansion ability, but also close to all the things that we need in terms of security, backup power, that type of thing. Everything in Paraguay is 100% hydroelectric renewable energy. Paraguay is a landlocked country in South America with some of the world's largest rivers and some of the world's largest hydroelectric dams. That means that their largest GDP production is electricity. And that's their largest export, and they sell it to Brazil. But that means that because they are literally producing more electricity than their country needs, electricity is very, very cheap. So we're actually locked in at 3 cents per kilowatt hour. And that's something that allows us to be profitable really no matter what Bitcoin does. So we're even seeing, because of what the market's done in the past 4 or 5 days, that there has been a little bit of volatility and decrease in the price of Bitcoin. This has resulted in a lot of people actually becoming non-profitable with their miners, especially those that are operating at 12 cents plus per kilowatt hour. And those people actually turn their miners offline. So a lot of
That's
people that are
right.
mining this weekend noticed that the rewards actually increased per block. And that is because there's less difficulty. And so it's a really fun and a good brain exercise, if you will, where even if Bitcoin goes and cuts in half or cuts in a third or cuts in a quarter, we will still be profitable at our 3 cents per kilowatt hour, and not only profitable at the levels that we are now, but there's a chance that we're even more profitable, because when the price of Bitcoin drops, a lot of people leave the market from mining, which decreases the difficulty,
Mm.
which, if that difficulty decrease is greater than the price decrease, then our profitability actually increases. Doesn't matter what the price is. So very interesting. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but it's exciting also to be the service provider and get in at these low prices.
Yeah, no, we're actually pretty good friends with Alex from Tactical Investing. And we've actually had Alex on here to talk about fraction mining and kind of what they're doing, kind of in a similar fashion, actually here in the States, using, flare gas directly from oil and gas leases. So we're pretty familiar with it. And the three kilowatts per hour, right? That 3 cents per kilowatt is a very attractive number. And I agree, anybody that can get in that rate. So it will be very possible, or profitable. But what did I hear you correctly? Also, that you guys were going to be monetizing that and offering a solution to other groups potentially as well. Is that what I heard? You were
So
going to host a facility potentially.
we are hosting our own facility, so that's how it's going to work. Is
Okay.
everything that we raise and fundraise for this is, like I said, John. He's going to be moving down to Paraguay. He'll actually be on site. We're excited to be able to have him go and live stream on his phone and show everyone, hey, look at this awesome facility that you guys all own. And so we will be having a preferred round, and that's going to be going to projects. Quite a few of those projects are actually into mining themselves, but they want the opportunity to be able to get into additional mining opportunities at 3 cents per kilowatt hour, right? A lot of other projects that are doing this are in that 5 to 8 to 9 cents per kilowatt hour range. And so if they're able to get invested at a high capacity with us at 3 cents per kilowatt hour, those funds can go back into their own ecosystem. And so Diversifies helps them out with their own community as well, letting them know, hey, guys, we just increased our capacity at a far lower expense rate, which should mean more profit for them. So we are looking into that. It's not going to be the traditional, hey, we're a service provider, send us your Bitcoin or your miners. We're going to get it all set up. We're going to take a performance fee. We will most likely do it where we fundraise at a preferred rate with these people, and we give them a preferred return that's going to be better than anything else. And that'll help us get our initial capacity. Sorry, my voice is kind of going away this week. Been talking on AMAs every day.
It's okay. And Paraguay, of all places you could have chosen to do this, that was the first I've heard. I guess, is Paraguay a pretty common or popular place for people to host facilities such as this, or are you guys kind of breaking new ground in this vicinity of the world?
Not many people know about it, but the people that do know about it are flocking there. So the country actually is increasing the visibility of this, this opportunity, because they've recently, within the past, I think 3 months or so, 4 months, announced from a government perspective that they're actually incentivizing this, and they want to put more classifications and constructs around the laws and around the taxes and around exactly how you can be regulated within the country for it. Paraguay is an amazing country with only 10% flat tax. It's awesome. And they also are heavily incentivizing people to use their grid power for Bitcoin mining. So yes, it's a great country for it. Luckily, the family member that John has down there is also very well connected politically. So it enables us to have some more opportunities than others might.
Yeah, that's incredible. That sounds like a great opportunity for you guys. Hey, listen, I don't have that many more questions for you. I know your voice is going out, Tyler, but is there any parting comments you would like to provide the community before we wrap this thing up?
Let's think. Well, I know that we're going to be hosting an AMA with you guys, right? That's tomorrow, isn't it?
That's right. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah,
What
I
time
know
is
that
that? Remind me. Is that tomorrow
let me check
evening?
my calendar. Yeah,
I need to do the same.
It
Yeah,
is
so
gonna be.
we have it posted too in our Discord. I know.
Yeah, we have it in our Discord. I have to look at the Discord calendar right now.
All right, it's tomorrow evening. It's tomorrow
Okay.
evening. That's all everybody needs to know. So tomorrow evening we're going to be meeting in your Discord, correct?
Yes, sir. We're going to be meeting in our Discord. I've been meaning to ask you some questions here today, but I actually don't want to because I might save them for tomorrow. There's no reason to get
It's
to them
okay.
now.
This is a good opportunity for our community to get to know you guys and what you guys stands for and what you've been working on and kind of the premise behind your project. Really glad that we had the opportunity to host you, and we're really looking forward to tomorrow evening too. Draco should be with me. It's a much more lively conversation when we're all together. I promise I won't drink tomorrow night either because it's not happy hour. That was tonight. But yeah, no, thank you very much for meeting with us, Tyler, and having this discussion. It's very much appreciated.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me. One of the things that we really are very excited about is being able to have discussions like this with projects that are doing things in a similar light, which is foundationally building value in the space, right? From an infrastructure perspective, you're
That's right.
helping out with the infrastructure in proof of stake mining, and you're doing it in a very utilitarian fashion way using NFTs. And we absolutely love that. It couldn't be a better project to be talking with right now. There are so many projects, even still, that kind of don't really have much direction. They don't really have much of a plan, and it's
That's
more
right.
hype based. And I absolutely love that you guys are very business based, very focused. I love the professionalism that you exude that I can tell you have experience from. And just thank you really for the time up on the stage today.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to 5 years from now when we all can sit back and have a good look back on the past, and the NFTs that survived throughout all of this are the ones that provide true value. And like you said, infrastructure, I believe in probably it's the heart of this industry. And once people are quicker to realize that, I think all of these projects will find awesome success in the future. So thanks again, Tyler. It was great talking to you, getting to know you. You can stay on here, but we're going to end the broadcast now, guys. Thanks again for sticking through with us. And please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Good night, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.